Hello, today we're installing the ArborJet system, doing an emerald ash borer application using the Tree-Age chemical. And our first step that we do is we want to choose appropriate injection sites, basically using a cordless drill and a 3/8 drill bit. We start by drilling through the bark and the cork cambium until we stop in the, into the xylem layer. And then from there, once you feel resistance of that conductive wood, we go another 5/8 to 2 inches deeper into the tissue of the tree. Make sure it's nice and clean, and then we're ready to install the arbor plug. This is an arbor plug. It's basically just a small plastic button looking piece that has a one-way diaphragm that allows the chemical to seal with the injector. We'll show that later, but basically it's seated with a hammer and the special tool, and I'll show you how that's done. While you're doing this, you want to make sure not to go in too far and compress that wood. You also need to make sure that it seats properly so you have a nice seal around the hole you just drilled. If it's out too far, you could possibly lose a lot of expensive chemical down the side of the tree. Alrighty, what I've got in front of me is our ArborJet injection system. And basically what it does, in a nutshell, is it takes this chemical, which we already have a pre-measured amount, out into the bottle, and then by use of pressurizing this tank around, I think it's around 50 to 60 psi, it forces the product up into the vascular system of the tree. It's a very efficient way of administering a chemical. And like I said, we've got our pre-measured amount out, if you can see in the bottom, around 115 milliliters of the Tree-Age project. And the next step now is to pressurize the system, which we do with this bike pump. And then once I've got the system up to pressure, there's a release valve which will let me know that everything's good to go without over-pressurizing the system and possibly damaging some of the components. Disconnect the pump. Now what I'm going to do is we'll bleed the lines. This is achieved by releasing this main valve, and then on each injection site you also have an additional valve. You need to make sure all of those are closed, so once again we're not losing product. It's very expensive. Okay, now that I'm sure that all these are closed, I'll open the main valve on the system, and you'll be able to see, hopefully, the product load each individual line. There we go. And from here, I'll go and bleed each needle. Wait for it to come out, a few little drops. And there we go. Alright, our lines are all bled. I'm just going to untangle these tubes, and I'll show you how we install the needles into the arbor plug, which have been properly installed into the tree. Penetrating the diaphragm. Make sure to be very gentle. You don't want to force those in there and booger those seals up. All right, now we're ready to inject the chemical into the tree. Each injection valve is now open. The main valve is closed. Now I'm going to open the main valve. And we've got take-up. Today we're getting awesome take-up in these trees. A technique that we use is to trap air in the line. That way you can see the difference between the air bubble and the product, and you can see how fast this product is actually moving into the tree. This is a really good day for the arbor jet. Our first tree is finished. Just closed all these valves. We're going to take the injection needles out of the tree, move on to our next one. We got great take-up today, really fast. Depending on your conditions, really depends on when this application is appropriate. As you can see, these plugs, once they're drilled in and we're all said and done with this, this process, are almost invisible. On a mature tree like this, where the furrows on the bark are so deep, you can barely see that. Studies have shown that in 2 years, these should be completely compartmentalized over and very little possibility of decay and pests or disease can enter the tree through these sites. The product itself is also a tier product, so now that we've got good take-up, this tree should be protected and hopefully kill all those nasty little borers. And we'll assess the tree on an annual basis from there.